Hey everybody, it's Investing Done Simply here, and this is another video with my monthly update of my portfolio for the month of January 2026. This time we're going to jump into the new year of 2026, look at my goals and stuff, and hopefully another year of amazing growth. Now if you're new, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications so you don't miss another video, and let's just jump straight into my portfolio. Right before we get into my individual pies I have on Trading 212, I just want to say I've hit £5,000 in my portfolio, which is absolutely amazing. I couldn't imagine that I would have hit this quickly, as I'm only still 19 years old and I've only been investing for about a year and 9 months. This is hopefully just the start of something amazing, and I can't wait to see how my portfolio compounds over the years and how quickly we can get into the big numbers. Now let's actually jump into my pies that I have, and the first one being my long-term ETFs pie. This has a value of £1,726, with last month it increasing by 2.5%. Now a lot of you might be asking, why am I actually investing into ETFs and not the big growth stocks? Now I know growth stocks, you can have massive jumps of 20%, 30%, 40%, and maybe even 100%. But I want long-term safety. Now this pie consists of three main ETFs which cover the FTSE 100, the FTSE All World, and the S&P 500 to just make sure I get that diverse. Now going on to my second pie, which is my banks pie that I've been talking about in all my previous other videos. Its value is currently at £687, with a rate of return of 8.8% in the last month, which is absolutely amazing. The banks that I own in this pie have performed incredibly well since the start of this pie, as I think the pie's value has actually risen up by around 30% from the start of my pie. The pie consists of Lloyds, HSBC, Barclays and NatWest, just 4 UK banks, and they've been performing absolutely amazingly, and all four of them provide me dividends as well, which is just the cherry on top. And now my AI stocks. These stocks consist of Nvidia, Meta, Palantir, etc. And this hasn't been performing as well, as I feel like I might have bought at the top. Its current value is at £368, but in the last month it's actually been a negative, and the rate of return has been minus 4.5%. However, I'm not stressing too much, as I always still think of the dollar cost averaging, where I still invest money in even if it is in the negative, as it will eventually bring my averages down, and when there is a boom, the profits will be much larger. Now we actually have two new pies in this video that we're going to be talking through. First one is my ChatGPT test pie. Now the name suggests it, ChatGPT test. I obviously just quickly asked ChatGPT, give me some stocks that I can invest in. I just give it a couple parameters, and I'm just seeing what ChatGPT is going to cook up for the next year or so. Well, as you can see here on my screen, actually, its value is £274, with a rate of return of minus 5.7%, so it hasn't been performing quite as well. And I might just think that with the same as the AI stocks, I've just been buying them at where the stocks have been at its peak. Now, this pie actually consists of Nvidia, Broadcom, Palantir, Alphabet or Google, Amazon, Micron, CrowdStrike, and Palo Alto Networks. Those are the stocks that are in that pie. But this pie isn't really much of a serious pie, as it's just me experimenting with ChatGPT to see how well it can realistically cook up. And I'm only going to be using this pie for maybe the next 12, maybe 24 months, and just see what it's about. Now the second new pie, which I say in quotations, as it's not really new, but it's new to the videos, is actually a copy of someone else's pie of war ready stocks. Now this is just mainly your defense companies, and that's been performing really well, as it's now £194 with a rate of return of 6%. And actually in the course of however long I've had that pie for, it's actually been performing extremely well, with some stocks reaching up to plus 200%, which is absolutely mind-boggling. But now it's time to move on to my dividends, the most juiciest part of long-term investing and the parts that I look forward most to. As you can see here, dividends to date is now £102.26p. To know that I've started only investing not even 2 years ago and I've already got £100 in dividends is absolutely amazing, and it's such an achievement that I wouldn't have grasped when I started. And to think however many years I have left of investing and how much I could potentially bring this up to is just out of like this world. Like, I can't think of it. But as always, let's go straight into an in-depth review of my dividends. Now, as you can see here, for the month of January, as it's only been the first month of quarter one, we've already gotten £3.23 in dividends, which compared to last year's quarter one, when that was consisted of January, February and March, we're already over 50% compared to last year's dividends, which is absolutely amazing. And now the reason why I actually keep the dividends I receive into quarterlies over the year is actually in my head I like to have an aim where I try and receive at least double of what I received from the previous quarter, which when I mean by that is from the quarter, like the same quarter of the previous year. So from 2025 quarter one, I would like to my aim would be to try and double my dividends in quarter one of 2026 and so forth. And so far that goal has been going absolutely amazingly, and I just want to see how long I can try and keep this up for. And alright, now going into my actual individual stocks to see who's paid me dividends, you can see here Land paid me £1.13 on the 9th of January, but then they also paid me another 45p on the same day. Now I don't know why certain companies actually do this, but they tend to split up the dividends into 1 and 2. And if anyone actually knows why they do this, can someone put that please down in the comments so I can see and I'll review that. Thank you very much. And now the last big dividend I received for January was from National Grid, which was only 21p on the 13th of January. And I say only, I am so very grateful for it. And obviously all of these dividends will be reinvested into their aspect stocks. Now that actually wraps up my monthly update for my portfolio for January, and I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Hope you like, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss another update of my portfolio, and hopefully you guys can also join me into my journey into reaching 6 figures and beyond.